The moment someone can control your reaction, they can control you. They do not need to defeat you physically. They do not need to be stronger, smarter, or more powerful. They only need to discover which words make you angry, which accusations make you defend yourself, and which silence makes you desperate for approval. Once they know your emotional triggers, they know which buttons to press. And every time you react without awareness, you hand them control. This is why some people provoke you, misunderstand you deliberately, question your character, or behave as though your boundaries do not matter. They are not always searching for the truth. Sometimes they are searching for a reaction. They want your anger. They want your explanation. They want your attention. Because attention is energy, and your reaction proves that they still have access to your mind. The disciplined person understands something that the reactive person does not. Not every statement deserves an answer. Not every accusation deserves a defense. Not every insult deserves your anger. Sometimes the most powerful response is to observe, understand, and refuse to participate. Silence is not always weakness. Ignoring is not always fear. Walking away is not always surrender. Sometimes silence is the clearest evidence that you have mastered yourself. There are 7 psychological traps people may use to pull you out of your center. You do not need to use these tricks against others. You need to recognize them so they can no longer be used against you. The first trap is provocation. A person says something offensive, disrespectful, or completely unfair. The words may appear careless, but the timing is often deliberate. They know you are tired. They know you are emotionally invested. They know which subject matters most to you. So they attack that exact place. The reactive mind immediately wants to respond. How could you say that? You know that isn't true. Let me explain what really happened. But the moment you begin fighting every false statement, you enter a battle chosen by the other person. They selected the subject. They selected the timing. They selected the emotional atmosphere. And now they are directing your behavior. Provocation works because most people believe they must correct every wrong opinion about them. They believe silence makes them look guilty. They believe an immediate reaction proves strength. But strength is not the ability to become louder than the person attacking you. Strength is the ability to remain steady when someone wants to make you unstable. Before reacting, pause, do not ask, how do I defeat this person? Ask, what reaction are they trying to produce in me? That question creates distance between you and the emotion. When you can observe the anger instead of becoming the anger, the provocation begins to lose its power. A person who cannot make you react cannot easily manipulate you. The second trap is the demand for endless explanations. You make a decision, you set a boundary, you say no. Then someone demands to know why. You offer a reasonable explanation, but it is not accepted. They question another detail. You explain again. They twist your words, raise another objection, and force you to defend the same decision from a different angle. Soon, you are no longer communicating. You are standing in an invisible courtroom, trying to prove that you have the right to make choices about your own life. Understand this clearly. A person who respects your boundary may ask for understanding. A person who wants control will treat your boundary like the beginning of a negotiation. The more you explain, the more material they receive. Every sentence becomes something they can challenge. Every reason becomes something they can dismiss. Every emotional detail becomes something they can use to make you feel guilty. This does not mean you should never explain yourself. Healthy relationships require communication. But there is a difference between explaining for clarity and explaining because you are afraid someone will disapprove. State your decision calmly. Give the necessary information, then stop. You do not need to submit 100 reasons before your no becomes valid. You do not need universal permission to protect your peace. When you know why you made a decision, you do not need to keep repeating that decision. until another person agrees with it. The disciplined mind speaks clearly, but it does not beg to be understood. The third trap is false urgency. Someone pressures you to answer immediately. Decide right now. Why are you taking so long? If you really cared, you would respond. And urgency is often used to prevent reflection. When you are rushed, you rely on emotion rather than judgment. You become more likely to agree to something you do not want, apologize for something you did not do, or reveal information you would normally keep private. Manipulative pressure creates the feeling that hesitation is dangerous, but many important decisions improve when given time. When someone refuses to let you think, ask yourself why your careful thinking threatens them. A calm person does not need to force your decision. A truthful person does not fear reasonable questions. A respectful person does not punish you for needing time. Your ability to pause is one of your greatest protections. Say, I will think about it. Say, I am not deciding under pressure. Say, I will respond when I am ready. Then allow silence to remain. Do not fill the silence because it feels uncomfortable. Discomfort is not an emergency. And many people make poor decisions simply to escape temporary tension. They agree because they cannot tolerate the pressure. They apologize because they cannot tolerate someone's anger. They send a message because they cannot tolerate uncertainty. But the discomfort you avoid today may become the regret you carry tomorrow. Learn to sit with uncertainty. Learn to delay your reaction. The person who controls the pause controls the direction of the conversation. The fourth trap is emotional withdrawal used as punishment. Someone becomes cold. They stop replying. They withhold affection, respect, or attention. This silence is not peaceful. It is designed to make you anxious. You begin wondering what you did wrong. You reread old messages. You mentally replay every conversation. Then, because the uncertainty feels unbearable, you chase them. You send another message. You apologize without knowing what you are apologizing for. You abandon your boundary just to restore connection. This is how withdrawal can become a form of control. Healthy space is communicated. Punishing silence is used to create fear. You must learn the difference. When someone withdraws to regulate their emotions, they may say, I need time, but we will talk later. When someone withdraws to control you, they often leave you confused and wait for you to surrender. Do not chase silence. Do not reward emotional punishment with increased attention. Give people space, but do not abandon your dignity. If they return willing to communicate respectfully, listen. If they return only after you have begged, apologized, and surrendered your standards, understand what has happened. A pattern has been created. They withdraw. You panic. You chase. They regain control. Then the cycle repeats. Break the cycle by refusing to perform for someone's attention. Your peace cannot depend on whether another person chooses to reply. Your value does not rise when they approach you or fall when they pull away. Let silence reveal the truth. Sometimes a person's absence is not a loss. It is information. The fifth trap is guilt disguised as love. If you cared about me, you would do this. After everything I have done for you, this is how you treat me. You have changed. These statements are powerful because they attack your identity. You do not want to be selfish. You do not want to be ungrateful. You do not want to hurt someone you care about. So instead of examining whether the request is fair, you begin defending your goodness. This is where guilt becomes a weapon. Real love can express disappointment without attacking your character. Real respect does not require you to betray yourself to prove loyalty. A person may be unhappy with your boundary. And that does not automatically mean your boundary is wrong. Someone may feel disappointed by your decision. That does not automatically make you cruel. You are responsible for your actions. And you are not responsible for removing every uncomfortable emotion another person experiences. This distinction matters. Compassion without boundaries becomes self-abandonment. Boundaries without compassion become harshness. Wisdom stands between the two. Listen to the other person. Examine your behavior honestly. Correct yourself when you are wrong. But do not surrender merely because someone knows how to make you feel guilty. Ask yourself, am I causing harm or am I simply refusing to be controlled? The answers are not always the same. A disciplined person is willing to apologize when necessary, but they do not apologize for existing, choosing, resting, growing, or saying no. The sixth trap is triangulation. Instead of addressing a problem directly, someone brings another person into the situation. Everyone agrees with me. My friends think you are difficult. Someone else would appreciate me more. The purpose is to make you feel replaceable, isolated, or outnumbered. Your attention shifts away from the actual issue. Now you are comparing yourself to strangers, defending your reputation, or trying to prove your worth. Triangulation creates competition where there should be communication. It is especially powerful against people who fear rejection. The moment they hear that another person is better, more attractive, more successful, or more understanding, they begin performing. They work harder for approval. They tolerate disrespect. They abandon their standards because they are afraid of being replaced. But the disciplined mind does not compete for basic respect. When someone compares you to another person, return to the real issue. Say, we are discussing your concern with me, not someone else. Say, if you prefer another situation, you are free to choose it. Say nothing more than necessary. Do not enter a competition you never agreed to join. Your worth is not established by defeating someone else. A mountain does not become smaller because another mountain exists. The sun does not compete with the moon. Each has its place. When you understand your place, comparison loses its authority over you. People may try to provoke jealousy to measure your attachment. They may mention attention from others to see whether you become desperate. They may praise someone else while ignoring your efforts. Observe the pattern. Do not immediately react. Jealousy often reveals fear, but fear does not need to control your behavior. When you respond with dignity rather than competition, manipulation loses its reward. The seventh trap is intermittent attention. One day, someone treats you as though you are extremely important. The next day, they act distant. Then they return with warmth, praise, promises, or affection. Just when you begin feeling secure, they withdraw again. This unpredictable pattern can create intense emotional attachment. You are not only attached to the person, you become attached to the possibility that the good version of them will return. So you wait, you analyze, you try harder. You believe that if you say the right thing, become more patient, or prove your value, the warmth will become consistent. But inconsistency can keep you emotionally trapped. The mind becomes focused on the reward because the reward is unpredictable. A small amount of attention begins to feel powerful because it follows a period of uncertainty. This is why you must evaluate patterns, not moments. One beautiful conversation does not erase weeks of confusion. One apology does not repair repeated disrespect. One promise does not matter if behavior remains unchanged. Do not judge people only by how deeply they can impress you. Judge them by how consistently they can respect you. Consistency creates safety. Confusion creates obsession. When you stop chasing unpredictable attention, you reclaim your mental space. This does not mean you become cold. It means you stop calling instability love. You stop mistaking emotional intensity for genuine connection. You stop allowing another person's inconsistent behavior to determine your mood. These 7 traps all depend on one thing: your automatic reaction. Provocation needs your anger. Endless questioning needs your explanations. Urgency needs your panic. Punishing silence needs your pursuit. Guilt needs your self-doubt. Triangulation needs your insecurity. Intermittent attention needs your addiction to uncertainty. Remove the reaction, and the trap begins to collapse. This is the power of ignoring, but understand what ignoring truly means. It does not mean pretending problems do not exist. It does not mean refusing every difficult conversation. It does not mean becoming emotionally unavailable or punishing others with silence. True ignoring is conscious non-participation. You recognize the game, but you do not play it. You see the bait, but you do not bite. You hear the insult, but you do not allow it to define your next action. And ignoring becomes powerful only when it comes from awareness. If you ignore someone because you are afraid, that is avoidance. If you ignore someone to make them suffer, that is manipulation. If you ignore a useless provocation because your peace is more valuable than winning a meaningless argument, that is discipline. The difference is intention. Many people believe personal power means controlling the room, but genuine power begins with controlling yourself. Can you control your voice when someone raises theirs? Can you control your words when you feel misunderstood? Can you control your attention when someone tries to steal it? Can you control your actions when your emotions demand an immediate response? This is the real training. Anyone can appear calm when life is easy. The test comes when you are disrespected, rejected, ignored, or falsely accused. In those moments, your hidden condition becomes visible. You discover whether you lead your emotions or whether your emotions lead you. Do not be ashamed when you notice that you are reactive. Awareness is not failure. Awareness is the beginning of mastery. Each time you pause instead of reacting, you strengthen a new pattern. Each time you refuse to over-explain, you build self-respect. Each time you allow another person to misunderstand you without chasing them, you become freer. Not everyone will understand your silence. Some will call it arrogance. Some will say you have changed. Some will accuse you of being cold because they benefited from your lack of boundaries. Let them speak. People often criticize the boundary that prevents them from controlling you. You do not need to become aggressive. You do not need to announce your transformation. The strongest boundaries are often quiet. You simply stop answering disrespect. You stop participating in circular arguments. You stop explaining decisions that have already been made. You stop returning to environments that repeatedly disturb your peace. You stop giving unlimited access to people who treat your presence carelessly. This is not revenge. Revenge still keeps your attention attached to the person who hurt you. This is release. You do not punish them. You remove yourself from the pattern. There will be moments when your old habits return. You will feel the urge to send the long message. You will want to explain everything so they finally understand. You will imagine the perfect sentence that proves you were right. Before acting, breathe and ask yourself 3 questions. Will this response create clarity or will it create another argument? Am I speaking from strength or am I reacting from fear? Will I be proud of this action when my emotions become calm? These questions create space. And in that space, freedom becomes possible. Remember, silence is not about appearing mysterious. It is about protecting your energy from conversations that have no honest destination. You cannot reason with someone committed to misunderstanding you. You cannot communicate clearly with someone who uses every explanation as another weapon. You cannot build peace with a person who only feels powerful when you are disturbed. Sometimes the lesson is not learning how to speak more effectively. Sometimes the lesson is learning when to stop speaking. Let your actions become your explanation. Let your consistency answer the accusations. Let your distance answer the disrespect. Let your peace answer the provocation. You are not required to attend every argument to which you are invited. You are not required to respond every time someone tests your boundary. You are not required to sacrifice your calm just to prove that you care. The undisciplined person reacts to everything. The disciplined person chooses. They choose when to speak. They choose when to listen. They choose when to walk away. And because their actions are chosen rather than triggered, Other people cannot easily control them. Your goal is not to become emotionless. Emotion is part of being human. Your goal is to stop becoming a servant to every emotion that appears. Feel anger, but do not let anger choose your words. Feel fear, but do not let fear destroy your boundaries. Feel sadness, but do not let sadness convince you to return to what repeatedly harms you. The mind can experience a storm while your actions remain steady. That steadiness is strength. From this moment forward, pay attention to what tries to pull you out of yourself. Notice the person who needs you angry. Notice the person who keeps demanding explanations. Notice the person who creates urgency, guilt, comparison, confusion, or emotional withdrawal. Do not hate them. Hatred is another form of attachment. Observe them, understand the pattern, set the boundary. Then return your attention to your own path. The greatest victory is not making another person regret how they treated you. The greatest victory is reaching a state where their behavior no longer controls your inner world. No chasing, no proving, no emotional performance, just clarity, just discipline, just peace. Never react from impulse. Never explain yourself endlessly. And when someone repeatedly tries to drag you into chaos, do not fight for the final word. Guys, the invitation. Protect your mind. Continue walking, because the person who masters their reaction has already won the most important battle, the battle within themselves.